One of the most racist and mentally ill people involved in this case was and is this individual here. His name is iShowSpeed. This is a creature literally manufactured, produced by the Black Lives Matters and Slovenian communists, such as psychiatrist Peter Kapsch. He received a lot of support from Milan Kučan and animals from local police station. And it wasn't so much about him, really. This is just a 21-year-old. It was about his father, or even more, it was about other black racists who failed in the past to do exactly the same thing as iShowSpeed is doing. I'm not sure exactly where I would start. Should I start with where this lunacy all ended, through tremendous embarrassment, or should I start when he first time came to London to embarrass me, and then second time when he gained popularity with Prince Harry, with British royals Prince William, or should I start with, I think I'm going to start exactly where I started it, maybe with a fat ass black guy who failed miserably. It was a clone of this guy who tried to do the same thing but enormously failed. Tried to do the same thing sometimes in 2004. It was exactly in this room here, where I'm at. It's exactly this living room area where I'm at. But I recall this girl, a black girl, who started to cry, instigate in a provocative, controversial, demanding, asking, protesting, sometimes like in 96. And this shit dragged on. I don't know, maybe that's his sister, who the fuck knows what that is. But that nasty black racist creature was just a young girl. Demanded to have a black star that will be promoting, a black culture, a black attitude. Like, I don't give a fuck. I walk on the street and I just disrespect, and here I am, rampage, literally rampage shit. And the stars didn't pay attention to her all the way since sometimes in 2004, where this, like I said, a clone was manufactured, a belly black guy who, over the course of the time, sometimes in 2000, they launched him, and the belly was growing faster than his popularity. Was already also older, or maybe he was too old, I don't know. He was just rejected. Totally rejected. And it did not stop there. This so-called Black Lives Matters, they went on to get a new star, and that was a new star was through the father already got involved in this, maybe 3 years old as a child, tested on me, placed me literally into animal, turned me literally into animal through the trauma torture. Through the Slovenian psychiatrists, cops, police traveled to the USA, and it was, I recall that stuff actually. This, you're talking about like animals, not even people. Black racism, yeah. Beasts. And that's exactly what Slovenian Milan Kučan adorned. That's what they loved. That's what the Slovenian communists, Putin, that's what they liked. That was the type of material the motto when coming inside of this home here was, what you want to do with this guy into my home? And if the answer was, kill him, I want him dead, then you became a associate, then you became a part of this happy company here, with this Slovenes. This is where entire communist scum, red terror garbage was gathering inside in here. A pest, a disease of every society, together with somišljeniki, with like-minded garbage from around the world. And so he was about 3 years old when they tested this animal on how effective he would be for me. And through extensive trauma torture, where you no longer can discern between adults and between child, almost baby, his father managed to secure him a spot under the sun, literally through exactly what I described to you. So this is your superstar, your cool star, Ronaldo's friend. This is a personal friend of Ronaldo. Ronaldo, otherwise very normal person, I would say, but he alone was involved in some dirty stuff. So this stuff comes like natural. These are his years here. And this would be...
From a small-town gamer to one of the fastest-rising YouTubers.
They cut me the internet a little bit here, I see. You know, I remember the Chinese when they...
Darren Watkins Jr., better known as iShowSpeed, has gone through a wild transformation.
Demanding from me to buy all kinds of routers, I should say the signal extenders and Wi-Fi adapters, that kind of stuff. And I actually bought one, and the one that was sold to me as something incompatible with either this type of Windows or whatever the case might be, or simply defective based on MKH or brainwash. But it doesn't matter, because, well, I have to do the video on this stuff. This is a wild stuff. The Wi-Fi routers, they were destroying me. I was returning the Wi-Fi routers to the store, and as I was bringing them home, they would be destroyed within day 2. It was this kind of stuff. I yet have to get to that stuff.
From a small-town gamer to one of the fastest-rising YouTubers.
So you see this at age number 3 right there, 2008. He was age 2 in 2007 when they did the stuff like this to me. And they continue to do this. They continue to repeat this. I remember this place. where this was done.
Aaron Watkins Jr., better known as iShowSpeed.
This absolute animal. Absolute animal. Like, truly grown to disrespect, to humiliate, to insult animal. Groomed, trained, indoctrinated by the worst American black fascists. I don't even know how I would express myself to it. The problem is I'm still alive.
Has gone through a wild transformation you won't believe.
He is wild. Oh yes, he is. The first time he was in Britain, we're just gonna stop here.
Leave.
The first time he was in Britain was in 2009, 2010, and that was humiliating for him, difficult. Actually, 2009, maybe even 2008, I would say. 2009, let's just say 2009. It was very difficult. I didn't want to have anything to do with him. Nor with him, nor with his father, not with this. So these black Negroes, to say so properly, animals, like you would get them truly from the zoo, like you would go to the zoo and you would collect wild animals. That's how they behaved. They were insulted because they couldn't use me during their visits to London, to Britain, to Europe. You see, they got used to using me as a pet. Now, I want you to see me actually as I talk about this stuff. This was designed basically to use me like a white pet. So when you go around the world as a nigger, eventually disrespecting people, demonstrating your, I don't know whether this is yeah, you consider this as a culture. It comes really douche. It comes really, it gives the accent, it gives the edge to you when you act disrespectfully, when you have a white pet next to you. This should be interesting for the white community, definitely. See, we went through different stages in the United States of America. When I was a child, I couldn't understand when they would deliver me. And I remember Richard Nixon and Reagan. And they set me up with this so-called civil rights movement. They called them civil rights movements. I was a child and tortured by these blacks. And they tortured like insane so they could get attention from the white folks, from the politicians, literally. Literally using me for the riots in the US. Very serious, insane situations till they got attention, and then they would probably get some welfare and stuff like this. So we went really through different stages. We started over there. Now we ended eventually even in, a little earlier, I was cursing British royals. Because you're going to learn about something. And then I realized, I went back in time. I said, who the fuck did this? Who produced this one? And then I started to refresh this and realize that this was not even a US government product. But he was actually a product of this so-called Black Lives Matters, which is a black terrorist movement. You see, you will learn a lot in this video. One of the things that you should learn right now is that British royals will recognize you even if you're a total nigger. For as long as you have people that will line up behind you, even if you have your kind, even if it's known that they are a piece of shit causing problems within the society, but if society somehow tolerates them, like they won't go after them if it's not the backlash of a too big, even if it's of a backlash too big, and society is promoting racial intolerance, maybe even a Nazism, and people act deliberately, is as if they don't really see what's going on and are approving of it, type of behavior, it goes. Anything goes. Anything fucking goes with these British royals, because they are on a search of popularity. These are populists. This is one thing you should understand, learn. There were times when they, talking about American politicians here, like I said, Reagan, Nixon, we go way back in time, they wouldn't want to take chance with these black rioters because the world was watching, and this case was just a perfect case through which Russians, Chinese were involved, and any kind of government policing, law and order was just assigned to the blacks to cause even bigger problems, more problems, to get more attention, so the world could go with a finger at the United States and say, oh, it's racist because they use batons to beat them up and so on. I couldn't understand as a child. I was asking these politicians, I said, but you don't have the police, you don't have batons. I said, you don't have the guns to shoot these monkeys. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, they're so overwhelmingly taking control over the situation. And guess what happened? They formed a new way of communication. They formed a new way of communication, and that's exactly where we are at. From this violence, it's a new way, a new form of communication between the U.S. government and this black community became formed. And so rather than using a strict, and this is not a strict approach, if people go out and break and do stuff, vandalize and so on, what they'll do is they started to involve them in these affairs more and more and more. And we are right now sometimes somewhere at a climax of this, exactly what I described. The U.S. government learned that the best way is to just handle it this way. The British royals, once they would learn that a certain subject was actually accepted, not rejected, even if by just certain portion of the population, people, they incorporated in their agenda. And so this guy became incorporated in a British royal agenda in 2012. This is basically what this is. That's when they threw me into psychiatric hospital. He returned back. Once I rejected them, once I told them that I don't want to have nothing to do with them, it was embarrassment, it was disgusting. 2008 was his first visit to Britain, and he cried, and his daddy complained, and so on. I am being racially discriminated by the white guy who is drugged up and we tortured, and he wouldn't allow us to present him as a fool, to use him as a shit, basically. This is real. This is the way this stuff was. This is what they do. This isn't real. This is what they do. And if I save only one life of a one human being, I've done enormous job along the way. That's why I am doing this. I wouldn't even politically, the stuff that I do is extremely inconvenient for royals, for Central Intelligence Agency, I should say, for the so-called Federal Bureau Investigation, whatever the fuck you are. But your silence is a sign to me that I have to continue my work and be as much honest about what took place as possible. So something so disgusting, when I think about the stuff you did to me, would not repeat to another human being. So sometimes in 2012 he was empowered enough to come to London and do his tricksy hula hula business. A testing ground. Britain became a testing ground for his hooliganism. And so at one point in time, he really came face to face with the British guards. That's interesting.
Outside, baby. First time in UK going outside.
I haven't seen that kind of video,
crap.
but what you see here, this kind of stuff, is repeated from 2016. This is when he comes out like this.
First time outside. Whew. What's up, mate?
He acted deliberately like a mental patient. He deliberately acted like a mental patient, and he comes out and the people just walk away from it. Interesting, because I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje in 2012. This one is actually acting like a fucking nutcase. And maybe he is not. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Already when he was 3 years old, maybe he just deliberately acted this way, but to me it made me feel that he is not 100% in his head. With this type of behavior, like here, like walking out like stupid, this was already when he was a child, literally.
Woo! What's up, lad? What's up, lad?
Yeah, woo!
The fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Yo, what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? Oh.
I didn't know London was like this.
Yeah, what the fuck, right?
Come on, bro. You about to say what's up? Come like, damn. What the hell?
Oh,
What's up, Mike?
yeah. The stuff that you see here goes to 2016. Just like this. Doors open, steps out, and then they had me observe him, and he interacted, harassed, bullied. And this we go back to 2012 when a British royals told me, Prince Harry and Prince William, that they will work with him, that they have him coming, that they will work with him.
What's up, Mike? What's up, Mike? What's up, Mike? What's up, lad?
What's up?
What's up, Mike? What's up, Mike? What's up, Mike? What's up, Mike?
So this is basically the same corner, the same place as they did before. That means that there is a crowd that is already prepared for the circus.
Fuck, man. I gotta get the pigeon, man. Woo! London.
He didn't have any kind of mental problems. This type of stuff is
The Statue of Liberty. Hey, hold on.
this type of stuff is actually used to convince the people that stuff like this needs to be done. He's a bad person who does this stuff, and I suffer because of what he did to me, and I need to gain self-assurance. So I need to continue to use him and abuse him and involve the community to cooperate with me and give me the healing, brother. You know, that's what this is. I'm not saying that these white people here that you see are any better. These are just as animals. These are the people who actually lost control and have to settle for this type of business directly to the Buckingham Palace.
Hold on, let me just let you know. What's up, my boss? Damn! What's up? How are you?
The climax of this lunacy, I'm gonna demonstrate you. This here already 2014, what you see here, in 2016, wherever they brought me, they keep. But obviously he was using this kind of Illuminati services through this network, through this Illuminati criminal network that allowed YouTubers to travel for free next to me as long as they were willing to do the stunts based on which I would recognize them, or him in this case. This is what we are talking about here. That right there, that was a climax of...
Guess where we at, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I just flew in on my private jet with Andrew Tate and Aiden Ross, you know what I'm saying? Up here in London.
This basically, I did spoke to you about Andrew Tate. I don't want to talk about that stuff anymore. I told you that if you get yourself into interracial marriage, your children, if you interbreed with the black, are gonna go exactly, they're gonna do absolutely everything that is in their power, in their hands, to counter anything that is white, because they feel the white should not exist. It is just as simple. That much more if the daddy is black. Hopefully they're not gonna kill your ass at one stage of your life. Different than if you get married with the Asian or with the Latino. Very different. Jews and blacks, that's exactly how it goes. When it comes to Latinos and Asians, that's a very different story. That oftentimes you're going to have your child actually even looking toward you, a white parent, for guidance.
London. I haven't talked to no London civilian yet. I'm up here.
Yeah, this feels like something similar to 2014 when he first started, 2016 as he continued to come
London,
back.
bro, like this honestly feels crazy. What's up, Mike? Woo! What's up, lad? What's up, lad? The fuck? Yeah, what's going on? One thing I will say about...
So what they were doing with me, exactly through interaction with the people he had right there, they would empower me, basically. They would make me believe, and this is what they do. That people don't like this, they don't want this, and it makes you feel that finally people on your side. And this is then later misused, to break you psychologically down through demonstration of... it was this kind of stuff that went on with a gang, London gang, that would give him a company and would do all kinds of stunts with him as he would parade. That's what this is. London, this is made out of gangs. This is gang city,
Y'all, come on, string snipers, bro. No way y'all string.
The literally British government got him gang members, stalkers, that kind of stuff.
Be quiet. This is the Queen Palace, bro. Be quiet. Where's the Queen at? Where's the Queen?
You're real. When's the costume? She's dead. She's go buried.
No!
Oh my god. Alright, can we take a picture?
No!
This is important for me because I'm describing the exact procedure of the humanization of the human being. Murder, killing. Do you even realize where the fuck I ended? Somebody like myself, where it all ended for me? A little earlier, I saw that video about there was a wealthy guy standing next to expensive car, and he was bragging about chasing dreams, about making dreams come true. And I cannot help myself but to recall the words of the Charles or Prince Edward or Prince Andrew when they were talking to me about not chasing dreams like you, or you only dream and you're in your dream world, but actually work and do the stuff. That's how, this kind of chasing dreams. Well, it became evident that the fakest people in this world trace exactly to the Buckingham Palace. And this whole thing was so fake and done through so much violence against me. Enforced so much violence, Mount Everest of violence, unheard, unseen, stealing, robbery, cheating, that it became evident it was and is for nothing other than 54 years of defiance against royal brutality, against the brutality which involved prime ministers, ministers, presidents, congresses from around the world, basically one against the entire world. And these are the people who were giving me a lesson about the dreams, about the dream world. I'm gonna say to every fucking one of you, set standards for your life and continue to chase these standards. And whatever stops you, try to stop you. Whatever try to block you from getting your job done, I say expose it. Stand up to it. And the second thing I would say to you, never abandon your dreams, because really the world is made out of dreams. If they even steal you the dreams, you're not going to have nothing to live for. These are parasites. They are leeches. They are parasites. And they connect themselves with the bottom of the human society. I'm not going to even say civilization, because these are animals. Never allow anybody to patronize you about how you should be, how you are, especially not if you invest efforts to get things better. Yeah, I find it unprecedented when I look at my life, what I have gone through, invested to improve my life, change my life, escape death, to be patronized by some parasites from the Buckingham Palace. Literally parasites, literally leeches, garbage, who haven't gone through absolutely anything in life. Even forget about ties and shoelaces. Yeah, they were good enough to tie their shoelaces, I would say, and wear those ties and everything they prepared for them and so on. But when compared to me, British royals are on a level of a mental patients, I would say even imbeciles. These people have never ever made any fucking decisions in their lifetime. Decision is when you buy a plane ticket into fucking nowhere. Decision is the stuff I was doing. Decision is when you continue to go on against all odds, when you continue to fight. These people have not made one single decision in their lifetime. I wouldn't even place them in a category of the toddlers. These are fucking animals.
We're at the palace. What? She's dead?
Yes, we coming.
Oh my God! Oh my, yo, Mike.
Hey, I don't want to listen to this, see this shit no more. This is the garbage they were using to literally play me down, demand from me to see myself in, or these so-called, yeah, they referred it to it as MK Ultra case. Yeah, they claim that they don't know nothing about what MK Ultra is, but they demanded from me to see this as an MK Ultra case, like Donald Trump claimed that this was the highest profile ever MK Ultra case. This is not MK Ultra case. This is just a complete robbery of life, and not only of life, but it's a systematic murder. Not even dehumanization is not. It's a systematic ripping apart of the human being. That's what this is.
Give me this shit. Give me this.
This was involved. This dehumanization process goes to 2015 and 2016. What this is about? Well, portraying that I was not sane, portraying that I saw myself as a Viking, portraying that I was out there to protect the Norway from, whatever. They got me into, they get anybody into a mental game through super extensive violence, and human just reacts based on, well, yeah, I mean, if you go through so much violence at one point in time, it doesn't matter, you know that you are a civilized human being, but at one point in time, you do fucking grab whatever he has in the hands and slap him in the head with it, or even worse if you could. If you have a nigger like this jumping in your face all the fucking time, 24/7, that's what it comes to. You mean even if the kids do it? Yeah, even if the kids do it.
Must thunder must end. Right. If you want to help me to conquer Norway, put your arms in the air. Come here.
I can do it.
I need more people to conquer Norway. If you want to help me, put your hands in the air. They're coming. They're coming. Hurry up. If you need to help me, put your hands in the air. You're a candidate. Come on, kid. Put your hands in the air if you want to help me get Norway. They're coming. They're coming. Oh, shit. The fuck? Fuck you. Hey! Hurrah! Get back! Get back! Hey! 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 Hey!
I am going to stop here, but we had this going on in front of the people. It is the type of process to more than to completely rip you apart. After the sessions like this, people would come home embarrassed and probably even commit suicides. People commit suicides. This is the type of stuff that I learned to survive already as a child. MKH procedure oftentimes, I believe, even involves, in other subjects, I would say it involves this type of, they build a personality in you that is extremely awkward and so on, embarrassing in front of other people and so on, that type of stuff. They beat down your self-confidence, but they did not do very good recently. Since I went on the internet in 2010, they were taking more hit than anything else. Actually, once I started doing this in 2007, 2006, that's 20 years ago, they were not successful with any of this. Once you start to denounce them, once you start to denounce about what's taking place around you, if you are an MK Ultra victim, your self-conscience, your self-awareness gets raised so much that no matter what they do to you, you will start to see this from the intellectual point of view, and you're going to start to shape this into the weapon against them. It's no longer so effective, but you have no idea what they did to me during the childhood and teenage years and when I was baby and so on. They fucking kill you. They kill you. They completely kill you. They groom you to be solitude, groom you to have no desire for the family, for the wife, for the children, for the cars, for the something in life. That's how this espionage was enforced. This NATO espionage, European Union espionage, American Central Intelligence Agency, FBI espionage, together with the Russian partners. That's what that is. That is a prison planet, like Alex Jones stated. He talked about a prison planet, and whenever he was meeting me, he would keep reminding me of the prison planet. Except that stuff he was talking about pertains to the fluoride. Different kind of issues. I noticed this animal once I noticed Jews were involved in this stuff with the Royal Guards incidents. I had this guy here, for instance, abusing me and so on, and then coming to the London and facing the God and basically demonstrating me, teaching me, practically pointing me out that what would you make a conclusion if the Jew tortures you in Israel, then delivers you to London and is posing in front of the, basically all in agreement together with the British royals to they dehumanize people, to destroy the morality. And what the British royals get in return is they portray themselves as normal, and they portray you as somebody unworthy of being assisted. They demonstrate themselves as somebody who is responsible and doesn't want lunatics to come to the surface within the society. So basically the British royals concentrate on a variety of issues. They recruited criminals, and at the same time they apologized their crime through a variety of issues. Anyhow, it was like this at one point in time. Actually, he did have problems with the guards in a distant, probably I would say 2000 and I don't know, far back in time, I would say. Maybe they just did it to get my attention so that I could maybe recognize him and so on. So this guy did so much bad stuff, and the story behind him is so, I'm not going to say educational, but U.S. government is going to have to stop with this. The British are going to have to stop with this, because I testify, and if there is more people, you can testify. You can revolt against this type of, I don't even how. Is this like a governing? Yeah, it's a type of governing, I guess. The killing is governing like this. Based on my resume, you can go and you can tell that they do this stuff to the people. They do it like this. You can see that black racism have a common certain dots intersect with the interests of the British royals. They have common grounds in certain areas. In certain areas, all the crime intersects interest, and that's basically how they do this. They look for those areas and then they promote themselves through those areas and so on. With this being said, he is now 21 years old. He is basically 3 years over 18. I couldn't understand in 2014 and 2016 I was asking people, like, how the fuck can you allow this kind of stuff? Why do you allow this stuff? This went on also in Britain. So I couldn't understand. I was begging people to call the police, to arrest him. First time that he stopped being so violent was sometimes in 2016 in Britain, where the British gang, like, let's say this guy here, let me demonstrate you. When he steps out of the car like this guy was, let's see who was involved in this.
I'm up here in London, bro. Like, this honestly feels crazy. What's up, Mike?
White guy.
Woo!
The one that you actually see.
What's up, lad? What's up, lad?
Must have been. No, it might have not been. But he was as tall as this, but I gotta see it from up close. He had a haircut upright and he was in a t-shirt. It was actually even a summertime, and this is the guy maybe that was a government guy who was organizing this gang type of
what's up, mate?
Assistance. Let me see this guy from up close.
What's up, lad? What's up, lad?
This is not the same guy I'm talking about. This is not exactly the same guy I'm talking about. The British guy was very white and tall guy. They were giving me instructions on how this would help me out, that I would be identifying them and that kind of stuff. I don't see how the fuck I would be identifying the people from the street like this. Maybe the British are so smart, they can do that kind of stuff. You can be smarter if you have a Bluetooth in your ears and you can walk around and you can point all kinds of stuff that's not visible to normal people. Maybe in the future they're going to prove that everything was so easy.
That was going on. One thing I will say about... Oh, shit. Let me catch that pigeon.
Hello.
Oh, almost had it. Damn. Ooh, should I get my hair cut? Haircut? Haircut. I want to get a haircut.
This shit is all coordinated based on the past events. This is all pre-calculated. And that's how they do the videos. They do the videos based on previous interactions. They take photos, etc., etc. That's how they do that stuff. No, that was supposed to be a form of assistance to me. Remember when I told you how the police was pushing my fingers in my ass inside of my room in 1988? And then you had this in 1987 and in 1988. And then you had this, even this Mrs. Erepoche, a police officer in a parenthesis from Novo Mesto police station who met me the other day. She totally reminded me, together with few other police officers, on a week of murder of my father a month and a half ago, about also other stuff that went on, because these were the police officers who were out there to help me out. They brainwashed me. They brainwashed me that they admit, that they recognize that it was a UDBA, that it was a KGB inside in there, but that this is no longer. As a matter of fact, there is still some that are like this, but that they are not, and they are going to be a part of my team. So now the director of the police station, which was a UDBA KGB killer involved, did absolutely everything he could to get me killed. I spoiled them plans because I escaped to America in 95, and even before that I spoiled them plans because I escaped to Austria in 93. Made a decision that there will be some bad boys in there, those that would protect the old communist Yugoslav Serbian system, and I should also see other portion of the police officers that will be on my side. So you know that we would be having like children play in the woods, let's say, cowboys and Indians shooting one another, or you have a partisans and Germans shooting at one another. You know, this type of stuff like here. You know, they wanted to land me basically on the logic like this kind of stuff.
If you need to help me, put your hands in the air. Hands in the air if you want to help me get
The way I understood this was actually multiculturalism against the native Europeans. Shit. The way I understood that. So I didn't like him at all, and it came to me that he's trying to protect the Norway through, well, you can see what he's presenting. Yeah, I was ready to take anything in my hands and slam the fuck out of him. Any opportunity, anything that I would get. I actually prayed an opportunity to see some real Norwegians smashing him or something like that. Just as I prayed, I started to pray from the anger, from frustration because of the stuff they were doing to me here in Slovenia. I will never forget this place, Šmarjeta it's called. When they were doing me stuff, disgusting. I told you how they were bringing me to the memorials of the partisans and called me German and beating me up, torturing me, and they started to do this from house to house, claiming me that I am a Nazi and stuff like this, without having any grounds, anything. We started to imagine, and I was lucky I did like this, reacted, literally, that the World War II did not end. And sure enough, because of the stuff they do to me, even if it's for the Nazi Germany or wherever it is out there, they claim that I was. I started to pray that there will be a Nazi Germany and envision in my head that the war still did not end it. And there will be a day when they would come and, I don't know, kill these Slovenes. This is the evil that went on. This is a bestiality. And this is how you survive. And this is basically how they thrive. Civilization in a form of total cannibalism, animals literally, enforcing a new way, a new law, a braver world, a better world. Bestiality, total bestiality. Here in this video, it's already started to gain a big success because he noticed that I was interested in the black girls. And so he kept bringing me to this location back. And that's what Milan Kuchan, local psychiatrist, Kopsh, they were thrilled about that. Like I told you, they were thrilled about the interracial marriage there would be. And that would be like a monument to, yes, of course it would be. That would be a monument to this great Slavic brotherhood there. Communist agenda, I guess. But I really don't want to. I have nothing to say about this. This is enough to put this animal behind the bars for life. But we're talking about serial killers here. You hear a lot of times about serial killer did this, did that. These are serial killers that commit thousands of crimes in their lifetime. They're promoting their careers, jobs, everything through targeting people that are completely cut from the right to employment. Or in my cases, you have seen more than that. And engage in violence against them simultaneously as they call them mentally ill, when normally promised retaliation. That's what this is. This is about highway of death, about which nobody dares to talk about. It seems like at United Nations who claim that they wanted me to do this, that they demand, they don't want to stop this because they want to have an example for other people. They claim at United Nations, like Antonio Guterres claimed, that they don't have experience in it. And they need somebody to show them basically what this is like and so on. Man, I don't know what to tell you. It's a good video I have created. I hope this is going to save lives because people are getting killed out there. This isn't social engineering. This is about something completely different. I was literally used by the niggers. I would never refer to this as a black person. This is a nigger, literally a nigger. If you want somebody to refer to you as a black person, then you have to be a human first. If you're a nigger, you are a nigger. Literally used for self-promotion. And this is one of the most disgusting self-promotions yet I have seen. It's like a openly, blatantly out of total evil. Parade, like broad on a, like monkey would say, look what I can do, look at me, I can dance. Hey, you see me everywhere dancing and do stupid shit, and nobody kicks my ass, nobody puts me in the jail. I couldn't understand. For the first time, like I said, I understood in 2016 about what went on. But before the 2016, I was wondering, how come the fuck nobody calls the police? It was people dressed up like you have seen in London when he was doing. That bagger that you have seen, that bagger was involved in it. That's a gang stalker. And I couldn't understand how people well dressed up, well trimmed, well groomed, white people, they just wouldn't call the police. Like in 2012, 2011 and so on. 2008. When he was a baby, it became evident to me that this is just a baby. But I asked them, call the police. And they told me, but this is a baby. Yeah, but that's his father. That's his fucking father, I told them in 2009. That's his fucking father. He's not a baby. He's adult. He's a grown-up man. A black racist bigot. So... I don't know how you write this down, but it's called a baton. It's a stick. Do you know what this was made for? I wanted to become a police officer, but I'm going to say to you one thing. This was literally made to be used by the normal people on heads of the FBI executives. This was created to be used on the heads of the FBI executives because there are more animals in there than human beings. That's what that shit was made for. And like a Martin Luther King, I have a dream that one day will come when that actually is going to happen. When the police, real police, is going to walk in there. And will get you behind the bars. Will get you through process you through the justice system. will grab you for the throats, will get you behind the bars, and then the happy ending starts. That's basically when you meet your reality, basically, when the justice meets you. I have a dream that a day like this is going to come, that one day this is going to happen, that this will become known, seen, recognized, legitimate, authorized, and eventually something like this is going to happen. Because these animals here, what you see here, this is all coordinated, it's all agreement, it's all through the ministers, through the prime ministers. This is all done through the intergovernmental crime, through elites. They make the agreements, they make the contracts, and there is no such thing like courts. There's no such thing as a police. These animals here, they actually started to believe through the torture done on me that they would convince me about my not even having a guts to come to the police station or file complaint against them. They were presenting me as filing complaints against the police is something illegal based on a torture involvement of police. The psychiatrist cops with Milan Kucha and Robert Golob came so far with crime against me that they envisioned that this is what they were doing. All these Tiger Woods, all these people, these black thugs that were involved in this, they started to envision themselves through my eyes, through what I have gone through, as the victims, disregarding all the violence they enforce against me. And police itself started to envision themselves as stuff they were doing as righteous, as the thing to do, and doing their best to convince me that any kind of belief, any kind of thought that there will actually be a police ever on my side against this thuggery, organized crime like this, is just illegal, criminal. They were actually posing me with the police coming at me during the hiking through the Novo Mesto City. They would have a police cars coming at me and get in my face and started to intimidate me as the people that would do crime against me during MK Ultra were correct about, like, it's incorrect to complain about them in that sense. It wasn't even about your being not allowed to complain about, but it was all based parallel to this stuff. They all the time signaled signs about the coming psychiatric hospitalization. They basically enforced together all along. They enforced together, they enforced the idea about whatever the fuck you do, you end up inside of the psychiatric hospital and dead. They were doing this since my first grade of the grammar school, when I really understood what exactly psychiatry is, and that was in 1978 or 1977. They were doing this shit for 50 years. And they were doing it extremely, extremely, extremely successful, as you see. See nothing, hear nothing, know nothing is a motto of the United Nations. It's what the United Nations is really based on for the last 50 years, for sure. When it comes to the law enforcement agencies and courts, look at the blog, see what I was writing about, and you will understand about what's going on. About the riots, doesn't make for me to talk about. You know, the riots earlier at the beginning of the video when I spoke and I said, you know, don't you have and police to regulate them and this and that. I was the one who first suggested to use the military, National Guard, on rioters that are doing riots without, no, I am not against protests of the people whose rights are violated. But when you start to take this into something completely different, you start to abuse your rights. You start doing stuff that is not rationalized, that is not rational, that is just basically blackmailing, and is based on because we can do it, because yes we can. That's a completely different story. That was a completely different story in my eyes. There was no grounds for violence against me. Because I say this because these presidents that were involved in this, they were saying to me, oh, it's going to be a black riots and so on. And I told them, so what the fuck is if it's going to be a riot? I don't understand that. I don't understand. Oh, you don't understand this and that, and it's going to be this and that. I said, you don't have a machine guns. You don't have any machine guns. You don't have a soldiers. You're saying that there will be a rioters, there will be this, there will be that. You're saying to me that the fire, the machine guns cannot control the population like this, I said. You're saying to me that you cannot establish law and order, and the people can basically do the stuff like this, which I think that Reagan and Nixon were doing this kind of stuff to assure black population that regardless of what they would be doing, they're not going to be meeting the dead-end resistance. I promoted this type of, it's not that I promoted, I would never accept that there would be people that could go out there and do anything they want to do to the people and even start riots and stuff, and the government would just have to comply. It's an obvious lunacy. However, it's not a lunacy when you use this kind of issue to present this to the broad black population as something like saying, well, you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to worry about, just go and fucking express yourself in whichever way you want. Stuff I have seen during MK Ultra was more drastic than what you see in a real time. Because during MK Ultra you are forced to see things in an extremely drastic way, in extremely how can I say, like a tragedy, like something that is, it's blown out of proportions, really. You know? So that's how they get you into this type of mentality and so on. I understand that part. I completely get this part. But I cannot understand that you would be doing parallel to the laws against discrimination, against the racism and etc., and equality and all that stuff, that you parallel to all this stuff you would be doing. Well, let's say, listen to me, if you have a problem with me, I don't really give a fuck about that. Let's say that I was a mentally ill person. Let's say that I was a mentally ill person. Do you actually rationalize the stuff that you are doing as good, as normal, and as something that is okay to do to a person if the person is mentally ill? Really? I mean, I just want to ask you from that perspective. I mean, from this perspective, I want to ask you. So you have a parallel to all the laws, to the shit that you have, and constitution, and blah, 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 and so on. Let's say that I was a mentally ill person. Not the person who kept trying and kept going. But mentally ill, and I was just, you know what it takes if you go through 1 year of unemployment? Now imagine, picture yourself, you go like this 54 years. And your childhood was based on unprecedented violence. So that person is just mentally ill because he's mentally ill. It's not worth it to save him, right? In a parenthesis, saving him. Because every political asylum that I exercised was an attempt to establish myself. New life, in a new place, escape the death sentence. And it was more than meeting resistance. It was preparing me for a death sentence in location before I would even exercise attempt for political asylum. Whether that be Norway, especially, and Sweden, both of them, and Germany, and Belgium. in Britain, where I did not exercise political asylum, in Finland, where I did not exercise political asylum, Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, Ukraine, they were all involved in this. They all prepared ahead for what would result in a catastrophe. Canada. So it's difficult, impossible really, to blame everything on the Eastern European communist scum. When, like I said, just like with the gangsters, with the criminals, you British royals and CIA and FBI have found certain common interests, certain dots where your interests intersected in a certain dots. That's all I wanted to say for this. But batons are actually really created. They were made to be used on the heads of the people like those that are employed by the FBI these days. For the last 50 years, you are a scum and disgrace for the law enforcement, for the law and for the justice. Wherever the fuck that is, anyways. This kind of stuff, this is what you call a race card. You know, a race card? A race card, they usually tell people when they go at work or wherever they go, or they claim benefits or whatever, government, unemployment or whatever, or in employment, they can claim minority status. They can say, I'm African American, you know, which I am not. Listen, I'm not saying anything. Don't get me wrong. I'm not getting in your fucking whatever you have going on. It's the same thing as when I came to United States of America at age 23 in 1995. Even though I'm more American and I have more ownership in United States of America than any American ever had in the history of United States of America. For me, your America started with the hijackings when I was year or 2 years old. I don't want to get fingers into the stuff that you do. But this here is also a race card. It's British royals that also pull the race card. It's FBI, it's CIA that also they pull the race card. And they do it so they can help their Eastern European comrades, colleagues, friends they met along the way inside of our houses. From where they took 1 million proofs about what went on, and none. Because, well, you got Epstein files, right? Whatever that is. Your daily life anyways. This is a race card is what this is. It's called a race card. And they are totally about the race card. This is all about the race card. Everything about these people is about the race card. Harry married. Oh, what is here to say? She is also coming from a marriage like this. Mom was black, father was white. So it's called a race card. And these people here, they love nothing more than a race card. Race card is these days answer for absolutely everything. Multiculturalism is one of the most serious sicknesses in today's world. And I believe multiculturalism murders more people than anything else in the world. I met all kinds of doctors, physicians, all kinds of people along the way who spoke about the cancers and healthy and unhealthy habits, all kinds of diseases they spoke about, but there was absolutely nobody ever that would be touching the subject of MK Ultra, which is the core of this organized terrorism type of government, basically terror government, known as multiculturalism. More people is being killed like this than what natural cancer, all the stuff that you read about, diseases. There's been even diseases that previously were not discovered and are rather strange. Things are happening. It's all kinds of new diseases that are coming out. I do believe that majority of these cases, majority of the stuff that goes on is actually done on a people, even through MKUltra. For which, however, the world continues to claim that it doesn't exist, that this is a telepathy, that it was one time, long time ago, that government engaged in unethic experiments, and etc., etc., etc. So that humanity somehow managed to learn to live with the terror, with the death, without actually giving any kind of resistance and assisting, helping each other along the way, destroying humanity, practically destroying themselves, seeing themselves in a toxic, murderous. I find it bizarre when people talk about healthy this, healthy that, what healthy for you, what not healthy for you. From my perspective, you're fucking crazy. Health starts with exactly this video. This is where the health starts. If you don't have a peace of mind, if you are hijacked, whether that be inside of the military or when you go, I don't know, with the school, travel with the school, camping, hostels, inside of your home, through your own family, that for me is not normal. Everything starts with you're having equal chances, equal rights to exist as everyone else, and not. In my case, this was even worse. There was no school, there was no kindergarten when this stuff already started. And I think that this proves that this is extremely, extremely unethical and criminal and everything else. Nobody dares to talk about. They claim it's a telepathy. You might want to portray yourself as a tolerant and normal, freedom-seeking, involving all human beings in your cause, etc., etc., etc. But this is not the way it works. When you do the stuff like you have done it to me, it actually portrays a different side of you. It actually demonstrates you for what you really are. You're really, really dark souls, by the way. For you govern the world with anarchy, with extreme violence, through extreme violence, partnering exactly with those whom you publicly claim you're not affiliated with, and maybe even have wars with them. You do. But at the certain interests, at the certain agendas that you have, you all intersect, and you do have common grounds for the way that you do the stuff, which goes to expose the complicity of the global mechanism, the way it works. This is an extremely, extremely complex case, and it took me a while to, not because I would not know, but because of so many issues implicated in. Like 1 million issues is not easy to solve in one day. And then you have to go on that long, 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 long road, you know. Instead of ending my suffering, at least when Soviet Union have fallen apart, they have instead decided to send me on a road like this. This is basically where I ended.
Fuck you! Hey! Hurrah! 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 Get back! Get.
This is basically how the British do it. That's how they solve their dilemmas. And that's, I guess, as a human being, I should be looking forward to. This video here that you see, this one here, this was one of the... Oh, so this was in Croatia, because I was going to mention a Robert Golob about this stuff here.
Name her?
Yeah.
I'm gonna name her Josephine.
Josephine. Good, good.
Josephine.
I like.
Oh, so this is a cross, the way they did this in Croatia. They did this stuff. This here, this disgrace, this kind of stuff, humiliation, also was involved. This goes to 2000 and this bestiality goes to 2000 and 2011 easily, and continue to return back sometimes in 2014, 2015 again with whatever they had going on, this stuff, whatever show they have going on in Croatia. I'm not familiarized. I don't travel out of Slovenia. I don't go to Croatia. But when Slovenes were involved in this stuff. So what they do is, not what they do, they always did this. They always rehearsed so they could get the proofs about my mental illness. So they have to prove that you're mentally ill. So if it involves the crowds, it involves as many people as possible that have not seen, know nothing, then that actually works. The society is rotten to the core. The society is rotten to the core.
What do I say? Can we tell you? Can we tell you? Then what can we do then? Say what? What do I say? Please stop me! This is Spartan! Silence! Silence! I am hearing close to you. And if anybody has a problem with me, no, can we tell you? Can we tell you? Then what can
This time, exceptionally, I'm going to do an entire breakdown of the Slovenian-Croatian police crime, the way they did this stuff to me during MK Ultra. he asked if he can kill him or whatever, if he can kill one of those guys over there in the audience. And I remember when this shit went on sometimes in 2016. I'm gonna take like this, a screenshot of this thing, and we're just gonna do it like this. And the way they did this stuff was by having me creating a conflict with few of instigators that they were using prior to this crime. This was a crime that was in development for several years. And then what they would do is, in this crowd, they would always, whatever they would have this fiesta, whatever this is, they would always have them come back. And the masses of the people were completely controlled. In this case, you have a mass of the people, a chaos, basically, that involves a lot of people, right? And now, if you look at the date of this thing here, you're going to see that this was posted most likely lately. Now, this is 11 months ago. And so the stuff that this animal here was rehearsing with, as I am pointing out, so I'm going to give you a complete breakdown the way they did this stuff. Yeah, for them, this is a proof that you are mentally ill, that you are a schizophrenic, basically. It would only maybe involve like this number of people. Let me demonstrate you. And even these people that they would do participate on this type of shit were the people who are either descendants involved directly into it. Since I was a baby, entire Croatia was involved in this thing. The cities, Dubrovnik, Zadar, Rijeka, all these tourist destinations under Josip Broz Tito, this was huge crime went over there, huge corruption with the locals. And so what they do is they get a completely controlled crowd. Especially when it comes to MK Ultra, what they do is always the building owners, they always involve the building owners because they are afraid of any kind of liabilities. So people reporting what they do, and what they definitely did with me, is they went on and all these apartments where something takes place, where something is going to play out, they would present me to the people, and they would always present me to the people as somebody who hate Croats, somebody who had a problem. And what they do is they involve females in it that aren't maybe the most appealing, or are actually unappealing, or what the fuck can I say? Why the fuck would you have to go and marry a Croat on the first place? Just because you're being hijacked from your country, subjected to this type of mistreatment, doesn't mean that you have to commit yourself everything to somebody from whatever place. But this is what MK Ultra is. MK Ultra is a tool that makes things possible to the people that otherwise would be completely without the reach, out of their reach. And so that's how this stuff was done. And if he manages, and this is what this guy was really good at, because of the issues that I explained earlier, if he manages to get out of you something like, can we get him killed? Like he went on to solicit from the guy if we can get him killed.
Can we kill him? Can we kill him?
Can we kill him? Can we kill him? I would ask during MK Ultra, we could kill certain guy. Because part of this game all the time was terror on how people disappear, on how people are killed. This was part of MK Ultra game since I was a baby. And so what he is doing here, he's imitating the MK Ultra sessions that I was subjected to in Croatia, whatever the fuck this place is, Dubrovnik or whatever the hell they're doing, imitating Roman soldiers. And so this is like a special score because this actually proves a mental illness, right? If you ask somebody if we can kill him, whatever, can we do something to him or whatever, they treat you like you are a fucking toddler when you are drugged up, without any powers, basically proving you impotence. You understand? And through that, they are proving you mental illness and so on. And so then there is this here that takes a big show, and the guy comes and they make a show and they do it in front of the people. And I guess they're going to get more tourists. Maybe it's going to be some ship that's going to come more to Dubrovnik, or the Croats are going to get some reduction in a new fighter jets cost. They're basically proving their loyalty to those over there in London, or whichever way the fuck this go. Like I said, I don't go to Croatia, so this is the way this stuff was done. It was Reagan that asked me, he said, what should we do with this? What in your opinion should we do? Because this is the way they did talk to me during MK Ultra. What should we do? And I told them exactly, you do exactly as if a foreign military assaults you. In case of these protests, what should we do? I told Nixon and Reagan, I told both of them, you do exactly, precisely do as if foreign military attacks the country. He said, based on your opinion, what should we do? I said, you do exactly as to you would do if foreign military would attack the country. That's exactly what you do. So, shoot them. I said, what else are you going to do? What else can you do in the case like this? If they go around and they destroy, they loot, they do the stuff like this, and they are out of control, and you have no control over them, and they just continue to destroy the country. I said, what exactly are you going to do? And I got in response, I got the answer, hold on, I want to be exactly precise about this. This stuff was all recorded. This was in the White House. They said to me, no, that's not how it is. And I wanted to object to this. What do you mean that this is not the way it is? I did. And I told them that's exactly the way it is. And they told me, no, it's not. I think that Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan were out there trying to apologize their presidency through my case, trying to portray themselves different than what it indicated the two were during their presidencies. There is some signs about maybe even racism that was coming from the two of them. There are some recordings and stuff about the two that engaged in a racist behavior with other government officials, even if it was only for a private talks, whatever might have been the case. I don't know about this stuff. However, from my point of view, if I interpretate the vision of the two presidents as that's not how it is, that's not the way it is, the two were trying to convince me that the blacks are part of United States of America, part of American nation, and therefore this cannot be seen in exactly the same way as if the foreign nation would attack the country. However, from my point of view, I was already under attack. And I was under attack due to racial reasons. What blacks were doing to me was led through the racism. They selectively were doing this type of stuff to a white person. So I do not understand even today exactly what the two meant when they said to me that this is just not the way it is. Today it's much worse than it was back then, based on my views. Today the situation, in my opinion, ran out of control and might never ever be again. There might never ever be again the possibility to restrain this type of lunacy, decay, destruction of entire society. This is opinion based on facts, not on assumptions or whatever you want to call this. This was no experiment. This stuff is being done now on these days on a broad level to the people. This took a completely new turn. It took a completely different turn than... It's exactly as I described in this video. It's just an issue that was involved in MK Ultra, and it's an issue that I have to explain. How I saw it, why I saw it this way, how the two presidents have seen it, how long is this shit been going around, and what this shit have developed to, and why, in my case, that's exactly the type of response that was just normal response from the person. This type of mentality during MK Ultra was highly discouraged with claims on how this case is never going to be resolved. You will never resolve the case. All of a sudden you would have a Robert Golob Kuchan positioning himself through using Americans and all others into a role of somebody that's actually out there to helping you out to solve the problem. They couldn't solve it for 54 years. There is an old saying here in Slovenia, they say, kamer šu bik, najgre pa še štrik. Wherever the bull have gone, it's okay if the rope goes too. You know, the rope that he was tied to. Let's say that whether he was stolen or whether he have fallen somewhere, drowned or whatever might be, the rope is not of such a big issue than a bull. They were doing this based on something that it's easy to come conclusion that they were doing also to other people. They were doing this like on assembly line. They were doing this, they enforce this type of crime. It's not the law enforcement, it's actually a crime enforcement in this case. You cannot be a law officer, you cannot be a police officer if you enforce crime instead of law and order. They have absolutely everything procalculated for every issue, for every turn I would make during MK Ultra to immediately brainwash you, so they would face a minimum resistance. Or I should say they would not face any resistance of any kind. That's like a main thing. Is you don't present to them challenge of any kind, basically. And it's about them, presenting them a challenge, but they go to brain kill. They go to completely brain kill you. They want you to be like, you know, completely brain killed, basically, without any kind of will in you, desire to resist. That's how it's like a washing cycle, like wash machine. That's how they do to the people. That's what they're doing. Why this issue is important for me? This issue is extremely important for me. This issue is extremely important to me to protect my dignity, my human face, and to point out to the people why everything is falling apart is extremely important. I'm a human being. And somebody like Donald Trump, who insisted all along, Donald Trump was the one who insisted, together with Joe Biden, with George Bush, which every one of these white presidents, that my problem cannot even be solved, that I don't know what kind of a problem this would do among the black American population. This shit of Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, this shit turned into something completely different. They started to convince black people that they should riot if my case would come out and become public. That's why I say that the job, the duty, when it comes to protecting the Constitution, the laws, such as is in my case, if there will be riots, this is your duty, this is your job to use machine guns and cut them like a grass. And if necessary, even empty, cleanse entire neighborhoods, if that's what it takes. Yes, that's exactly what it is. If you don't comply with the law, with the Constitution, and you act as a separate portion of the population against other members of the society, by engaging in destruction of the property, by engaging in destruction of what public work is, what people produce, then that's exactly the way it is. You are a foreigner. You are aliens. You're not part of the United States of America. And there's absolutely nothing American that is about you. Which people are coming to realize in also different forms anyways, not only pertaining to this case. So this is very, very, very important for me. What I justified to Richard Nixon, to Ronald Reagan, eventually was a matter of existence to me. It became more and more and more a matter of existence to me. Today, more matter of existence than it ever was. All true, I don't have the proof that the black people throughout the United States of America would go and protest and do whatever, they suggest me they would do and so on. That's how Donald Trump took control of the National Guard and started to reorganize USA through literally using National Guards outside. It was using this, what I believe, for something completely different. Like, for instance, crowning himself as a king of the United States of America. That's like very likely. I am not in Barack Obama's No King movement simply because he didn't have a problem with the kings. His bigger problem was, next to corruption, his biggest problem was MK Ultra procedure, the so-called serf or a subject issue, which he even used during the latest speech for his, Chicago Presidential Library, whatever that is. I don't care about that stuff. That stuff was involved, just as I explained, since 1988. Actually, even 1986, before I went into a high school. It matters. Everything matters. Everything you matter. What matters the most is the stuff that you don't do, the stuff that you don't tell when it comes to MK Ultra. Because this is a mother of all genocides. And you have to tell, you have to explain, so you don't look stupid. So you expose this whole system, as hollow as it is. Zero mistakes were made on my videos or anything.